Wow, welcome back. We were talking with Scott before. He mentioned on the live stream that there was two guys, one he had just met and one he had just interviewed. Well, good news, we have them back. So let's just bring the guys back in and we can introduce you to some of them. We'll get Scott back in. We'll get a guy called Tim to come back in. And for some reason, Wesley, which we'll just bring in now. Good evening, guys.
Hello.
I had to think there for a minute. How's everybody doing?
Good. Thank you.
How are you, Shane?
Well, I'm doing great. It's so nice to have you guys on and be able to share some of your insights and what you've found, what you're doing now. And is it true that both of you are musicians?
Yes.
Yeah. And we only just met a few months ago through Instagram.
Oh, really?
Oh,
very good. Okay, let's start with Tim. Tim.
Okay, yes.
What was your story with the J-Dubs? Give us a little bit of history.
So my background is I was born and raised as a Jehovah's Witness my whole life. I lived here in California and I moved around to different cities, but so I have my whole life, 25 plus years experience of, being a Jehovah's Witness. I was a ministerial servant, pioneer, the whole, things you're supposed to do as a young, male Jehovah's Witness. But yeah, that's pretty much, the background story that I have, growing up.
So how long you been out?
Just a little over 2 years. I was disfellowshipped in 2016. It took a couple of years to be reinstated in early 2019, but by 2019, I mentally had just faded out. It didn't matter to me whether or not I was reinstated. But at that point, I was ready to move on with my life and just start fresh. And I came back out to California because I was living with my family for a couple of years in Arizona. And when I came back here to California, I started my love for music again. As being a Jehovah's Witness, you're not allowed to really pursue much with the arts and creativity and things like that. So I really found my passion again for music and I started pursuing it full time. So that's what I'm doing now.
Cool. While we're talking about music, you've sent us a link to your one of your latest singles. Now, if I can track it down, we'll be able to play it. And maybe you can talk us through where is it? There it is.
It's definitely more rock metal inspired.
Rise.
But then it comes in the pop dance electronic.
All of my life trapped in a cage, was never allowed to spread my wings. Oh, the bird cries out in rage, can anyone end my sufferings? How long will this punishment last? There's no love, just criticizing. So much pain when I think of the past. From my ashes I am rising, I am rising, I am rising, I am rising, I am rising. In chains you will never control me. Cut on my tongue, can't take my voice from me. Burning with fire, you will never destroy me. I will rise, I am Sapphire Phoenix. Rise.
It's really like rock.
All the abuse left me broken. From depths of despair I must transcend. Just wanna be free to
Okay, so turn the volume down a little bit
Yeah.
so we can hear you talk.
But it's okay though. The great majority of the song does have to do with my process of after I was disfellowshipped. It was extremely difficult for me to live a life without speaking to my family, speaking with my friends.
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot of opportunity to reflect on just my life and where did I want to go with it, being now that I was essentially kicked out of the only life I ever knew. And it gave me time to really think that, I felt I was never allowed to really be myself and I felt trapped. So I used the metaphor and the illustration of this alter ego that I had to create to, I feel, almost survive that whole 2-year period when I was disfellowshipped. And I talk about in the song, you know, all of my life trapped in a cage. I was never allowed to spread my wings. A wounded bird cries out in rage. Can anyone end my sufferings? I really meant those lyrics because I just was so frustrated with where I was at, and I felt like no matter how much I tried to make sense of things and try to find the love, quote unquote, within the discipline that was being put on me, I could not make I couldn't make it make sense for me. So I had to really, you know, push myself to get out of a bit of a suicidal mentality that I had, and it was difficult. And I speak openly about that, and I talk about, you know, all the abuse just left me broken. I felt, you know, there was a lot that happened to me, both, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, and I felt like I was in pieces. I didn't know what to do with myself, but I knew I have to get out of these depths of despair, and I have to transcend it to something more. And, you know, I talk about, I just want to start again. You know, I just want to be free, but this time I'll follow my heart until the end. So it was a promise I made to myself that once I finally left, I would never look back and allow people to control my life from what I feel like I need to do and to be happy and pursue my passions. So I encourage people when they, you know, listen to my music in particular, that inner voice that they have that tells them to follow their dreams, to listen to it and to see where it goes. You know, I encourage people, no matter what path of life you choose, just be happy. Our life is too short to worry about what's going to please our family, what's going to please our friends. And if that's what we're so focused on, I don't feel we're truly living. So that's essentially what the song is about. And the chorus kind of sums it up, where I talked about, I felt, you know, you can wrap me in chains, but you will never, you know, control me. You can cut off my tongue, but you cannot take away my voice. You can burn me with fire, but you will not destroy me. I will rise. I am Sapphire Phoenix. So I truly became this alter ego, and I felt that's what I needed to become, to just, you know, survive. So I made that my artist name, and I pursued the character of Sapphire Phoenix with this new body of work I'm putting together. So Sapphire Phoenix really is the core story of who I am, and it's very autobiographical.
Yeah. So you mentioned before before we came on, you've got more tracks to go on to your first EP.
Yeah, so I've put out 3 singles so far. Sapphire Phoenix being the latest one. There were a couple before, Mirage and Dance in the Flames, which also talk about my process, you know, to where I am today. And there's a couple more songs to come. Working on the next single right now, so that should be released pretty soon. So yeah, a lot of exciting things to come forward, and it'll sum up the whole story from where I came from to where I am at, you know, mentally as an artist, you know, today.
Great. And they're all on your YouTube channel?
Yes, you can go to Sapphire Phoenix, type it out. I have an official YouTube channel there where all of my original music is uploaded. Cool. It has lyric videos, so if you want to follow along and listen to the story, that's probably the best way you can, you know, get the lyrics there. And yeah, it's on all major platforms, you know, whichever you choose: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube.
Yeah.
Can I jump in?
Of course you can, mate.
Shane, he has his own official mask. I want everyone who enjoys EDM to go check out his merch store. You can buy a Sapphire Phoenix COVID mask.
It looks
COVID mask
like this.
Oh, he's got it right there.
Cool.
Yeah, I have my own merch store, so I designed my own merch. So in honor of the new single, I made a mask for myself. So yeah, working with the times we have with COVID. So yeah, it's there on the store. Everything's in the link in bio on my Instagram page if they want to check it out. Official Sapphire Phoenix.
Right, and I've got some of the links that Scott sent through to me, and we'll put them in the description later on. So that's what you're doing now. You're working on the EP. What are some of the things you're looking forward to? Have you got any goals that you want to reach?
Yeah, plenty of goals. I mean, I definitely want to grow and continue learning as an artist, and especially me, I'm independent, so I'm not signed to a label. I don't have a team of people working around me. I'm just 100% fueling all of the creative work by myself. So I definitely would like to grow and to continue learning and understanding producing and mixing and mastering and marketing, and there's so much you can do. You have to put on a lot of hats as an independent artist. But more so, I do plan to put out another body of work, a new album next year. So I have that. I would like to tour once things can open up and start performing all of this music I'm putting out. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things. I have to just be patient and just wait. But yeah, a lot of cool things coming up.
Are you going to come to New Zealand?
I would love to. I've never been. I would love to visit.
It'd be cool to see.
Especially right now, you can open up the clubs and bars over there, but over here in America, California, where I'm at, still closed down. But we're slowly opening up. But yeah, I would love to visit New Zealand. It sounds like a great place.
Yeah. Well, it is a great place. I think most places are. It's what we make of them when we go and visit and get to know the people. So
I'm really curious, Tim, how would you perform that music?
Oh, I think even Wes on the side, we were just talking about this, like how do you see yourself as a performer? You know, the music I make is pretty upbeat. So I was, talking with him about, incorporating dancers, and I have a whole, imagination of like how the stage setup would be and lights and, different effects I would use. And it's interesting that I have all of these, notes and ideas down in my phones and files and things like that. But when time comes, I'm also trying to think of ways to even just perform it just here at home, not necessarily waiting for actual physical stage to, perform music, but take advantage of, technology and, things like social media, and, try to find new ways to interact with people and still perform the music that you create in new and interesting ways. I think I like to challenge myself and take risks. So still experimenting and researching on, exactly how to do that. But yeah, definitely I would, in my mind, it's real dancey, lots of light effects, smoke, fire. Like I sometimes feel like I go a bit overboard with the visual concepts of things, but that's just what I see when I make the songs. I already am thinking of visuals and stuff like that.
So if you were to speak to a young person who is sitting there thinking, or even an older person, what would your suggestion be about leaving? What practical things could you share with us that you found personally helpful?
I feel, even in times past recently, since leaving, I've had interactions with people who I used to be friends with who have reached out to me. And I've been able to reconnect with a lot of really great friends of mine. And I'm happy that they also were able to leave. But for those who are still, in the Jehovah Witness organization and, they're trying to, see how can they live their life outside of it. I have to also understand too, my one answer may not fit everyone's circumstance.
That's true.
Like you said, some people may be young, still living at home. They're not working. They're with their parents, and they don't have necessarily the financial means to just up and leave and, start their own life. So everyone's situation is a bit different. But what I will say is that for the most part, I think escaping or leaving the cult in general starts more so with your mentality. And then after, of course, the physical part comes. But I think you have to first start to realize what is it that's so different about, being in this type of environment that you've learned, and you may have been growing up in it your whole life, and this is all you know. I would definitely encourage people that you have a right as a human being to look into all different kinds of information. There shouldn't be a filter of saying this is quote unquote apostate material, this is satanic media. I find it interesting that when positive things are said about Jehovah's Witnesses, they take it, they talk about it, they brag about it at their meetings and conventions and say how great the media discusses witnesses. But the moment it brings up something that they're not too proud of, all of a sudden it's satanic and you can't look at it or talk about it. So I would just say, you as a human, you have a right to information, and you have the internet. The internet is, free for you to look at as much as you want, but make the decision for yourself. At the end of the day, you have to feel comfortable, seeing yourself in a different type of life that you feel that, maybe you've been getting certain information from your family or your friends about, if you go out, this is what's going to happen to you. And I even struggled with that. When I started to leave, I had a lot of stereotypes and bad judgments about people in general, that I thought that, everyone lives this type of lifestyle or everyone acts like this. But when you start to really just engage with people on a normal basis, even just like today, I was invited nicely by Scott and Wes to attend an event. We just went to a park, and it was about 20 plus people there, and I did not know a single person. But I instantly clicked right away, and we just had genuine human interactions. And it was like religion was not even the topic of discussion. It wasn't a matter of can I speak to you first until I figure out what it is that you believe in? Are we on sync?
Yeah.
And that's usually how the conversation starts as a Jehovah's Witness, is that, you know, I have to first see if you're a quote unquote bad association, or can I interact with you further? And
Like, where are you in the hierarchy? Like, where are you in the hierarchy? I got to find out where we fit and how we can interact.
Exactly, and it puts such an unnatural interaction with just a human to human, you know, contact. And I think people will be surprised that all the stories that Jehovah's Witnesses tell about what it's like to leave the organization is not what it is at all. There is a life. You can be extremely happy. I've seen nothing but positivity since leaving. I've been the happiest I've ever been in my life. I'm doing what I love by making music, and I have great friends and, you know, people around me that I feel that are much closer to me than the blood family that I came from. And just in general, my output in life is so much better. I can say nothing more positive things than you just have to experience it for yourself, honestly. And it takes a risk. There's a lot of struggle and, you know, fears and doubts about, you know, the consequences of leaving. But I honestly feel that the pros outweigh the cons.
What's on the line for you right now? Do you have family that you still interact with?
Since even during the waking up process, I was very vocal about my reasons for not wanting to return and, you know, be reinstated. I have very minimal contact. It's cordial with my family. It's just more so on the basis of just emergencies that may come up or health concerns. I don't communicate with them. I probably speak to them about maybe once every few months. But I wouldn't even call that interaction. It's just more so just checking up on you, you know, and if anything, it's just that. But quite honestly, I don't even really think too much about it, because I've realized, you know, not to be so morbid, but I've talked to Wes about this too, that, you know, my family could burn in a fire at their house, or they can get into a car accident and they're no longer here. I would still have to find a way to move on with my life and be happy. So it's their choice, unfortunately, based on the information they're receiving from a high control group that tells them they no longer have a reason or a right to interact with their own flesh and blood. And that has nothing to do with me. So I have to, you know, kind of change my own understanding of what does it really mean to have close people in your life. And it goes well beyond just, you know, blood family ties. So like I said, I have some amazing, amazing friends in my life that, you know, I would take a bullet for them. You know, I'm so close to them, and they've done so much to help me, even in the process of coming out and, you know, no longer having to deal with, you know, Jehovah's Witness lifestyles. And I can be nothing but grateful to them. You know, they helped me out in a time where I didn't have anyone to turn to. So yeah, it's a lot. It's difficult, but I'm at a better space now. I'm happy, and like I said, even just doing this interview, if my family happens to see it, I understand the consequences. The cult will tell them that, you know, they can no longer speak to me, and I'm okay with that. I feel that there's a better chance for me to help people with what I have to say, whether that's through music or just talking with you like right now. And just like I said, even for like the young person who may be in a similar situation to like what I was, I want them to know there's hope. There's people who love you. There's people who care about you. You're not alone. I feel the struggles you are going through right now. It's painful. There are some hard times that you feel like you just can't get out of, but I promise you it gets better. You just have to be patient, give it time. And that day of, you know, I almost feel like I came to California during 4th of July. So I say my Independence Day means something completely different to me. So your Independence Day is coming soon. Don't worry. You know?
So is this July 4th Independence Day going to be your second? Is it first, second?
So technically speaking, I announced that I was actually even starting to create music on 4th of July of last year. So I have not even been creating music for a year. My anniversary, quote unquote, I guess, is coming up pretty soon. But yeah, I look at the 4th of July now in a completely different light. But you know, it has a different meaning for me. So yeah, I encourage people to just keep fighting, and that's exactly what the song is about. People can just feel like they are absolutely shredding every ounce of your voice, your control, your dignity, your power. But at the end of the day, you will become a much stronger person out of it, and you'll be fine.
Well, you're truly an inspiration, Tim.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope my message and my music can help people, and that's all I ask.
Yep. Well, I'm sure it will. We've had a few comments like the one I just put up before. Truly inspiring.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. We've got to learn from the examples of ones who have been in similar situations. We're all part of one time that cult, the high control group, which has affected us in so many ways. Lots of people struggle. It's so nice to see at such a young age you can start doing the things you so love.
Absolutely. And that's what I hope. So for whoever is watching, young, old, male, female, gay, straight, you have a place in this world, and it does not just exist within the bubble of Jehovah's Witness. I promise you, there is so much more to this life that you have not experienced yet, and it's just waiting for you. You just have to go out and experience it. It's amazing.
Definitely. We wish you all the best with your music too. We look forward to following your career. Hopefully we might see you in New Zealand, or I might just have to come to America and meet you in person one day.
You never know. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I would love to go myself and visit. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you so much. I appreciate you speaking with me.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate you doing that. Now, Wes, you said you're a musician. Mm-hmm. Before we get into one of your tracks, tell us a little bit about your history.
Okay. Where to begin is always the question. I live in California. I only just met Tim just a few months ago.
Yeah.
And we found out we lived like practically down the street from each other, which is super cool. In Long Beach, California. I'm from the East Coast of the U.S. I'm from New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Also lived, and then I left the organization when I was 21 finally. And I end up going to college, which I was not planning on doing, but I went to school for music. And the last 10 years or so, I've been a working musician, different parts of the country, but now the West Coast, piano music, piano bar, weddings, entertainment, stuff like that. So I've been traveling. I say touring because it sounds cool. But really just packing up my van or my SUV and going and play, events. And we've done some festival events and weddings and those kind of gigs as a working musician. So it's been fun. I've had a chance to kind of live the, I'd say, wannabe rock star life after after dreaming about it for so long as a kid. And to some extent that, a lot of those kind of dreams being part of the impetus that led me out of the organization.
So how long have you been out of it?
It's been just over 15 years or so.
15 years, yeah.
It's been a while.
Do you regret it?
Do I regret it? No, far from it. No, it's I almost feel like it was bound to happen in a way.
Yeah.
I think I got a little bit lucky that I stumbled on almost by accident. This is for younger than myself, maybe even younger than Tim, viewers, that the dawn of the internet, the wild west of the internet was back in the 90s, very end of the 90s. So I was lucky enough to stumble on a book and a forum, early chat forum, where some scholars, a couple of whom were witnesses, we're talking about Greek, the Bible, and Jehovah's Witness interpretation versus other Christian churches' interpretation, especially the Trinity, was a big point of debate for scholars. I was kind of a nerdy kid, and I got into it. I was 18 or so, 17, 18, and one thing led to another. But eventually, the early internet and the couple of books I found, including Ray Franz's book, really was an eye-opener in terms of learning about the organization and its history. Rutherford, from the evolution from the Bible students up to the era of 1975, and then the modern day organization. So all that, all that history that you don't really, it's not like the society is broadcasting their history or broadcasting all the books that Rutherford wrote or all the policies that were changed or when the society forbid getting an organ transplant once upon a time. All these things that were part of the real history, which are either swept under the rug or just not. And I don't have to tell anybody here who knows it. Also, you feel a certain, unless you're, I don't know, unless you're a weirdo, you feel like kind of wrong about like asking questions about such things, and it wouldn't be part of you. If you were younger, you weren't even exposed to it. So anyway, all that information over the course of like one year condensed basically led me to get out.
Okay.
That reminds me of. Oh, sorry. I remember pulling like a book out of the library, one of the original Russell books, like the Silver Lamp series that he did, and the Bibles. Yeah, those red books. And I remember someone saying, "You shouldn't be reading that. Why are you reading that?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just curious. She's like founded this religion. I don't even know what this guy believed. Yeah, and like it's in these books, right? So I'm gonna read them." They're like, "That's apostate literature." I was like, "The own founder of the religion,
the guy,
he has, yeah."
He is
like if you left a religion for like 10 or 15 years, or like you still believed everything, but you like stopped 10 or 15 years ago, you would be considered like fringe or like not really a true witness.
Yeah.
Because you didn't keep up with the new books because they change their beliefs so often.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway,
sorry, so have you got any you got any family still in?
I have some a little bit of extended family in on my father's side, but otherwise it was really just my my father's family. My mom's family was never part of it.
Did they ever try and reach out to you?
Yeah, I actually have. I'm kind of lucky in this regard. My immediate family all left right about the same time, and then just my uncle unfortunately passed away, but it's his family. He's but we more or less have good contact. I'd say somewhat rare for the organization is that they're friendly and they're good, pretty good family contact, I'd say.
Yep. Okay, so you're a musician. Let's listen to one of your tracks and listen to. This is the newest one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Comes out tomorrow. Well,
today in New Zealand. Yeah. Okay, let's get this going. All right, we'll push play.
It was the summer of my disillusion. Noisy confusion was out patronizing me. Saw your reflections in the stream of my thoughts, clouded by why nots and the corpse of my esteem. How now, where will I go? I've been holding on so long to see the show, the actor on the stage, the part I was born to play. Don't wanna wait for night to come. I don't wanna grow old if I'm growing young. It's too late to turn back now, too soon to doubt. But I guess that's why you put the past behind your love. I guess that's why it's dusk. It was the moment of my disenchantment, dying to recant when all of a sudden I met you. You told me go see the world, you will love them. I set off for London and it rained each day in June. How now?
So tell us a little bit about that, Wes.
It's actually Long story short, it's the oldest song on the album that I put out during the pandemic.
Mhm.
It's the only song that was written actually years ago, about 8 years ago or so, when I was living in Arizona, and it is somewhat specific. It's somewhat about a trip I took to. Woohoo! Thank you. I see that down there in the comments. A lot of my songs I grew up with. I'll give you a long, kind of a long and half boring answer, but a lot of my songs are kind of inspired by Oasis, which I know have been popular
Okay.
in New Zealand and Australia,
Yep.
and the Gallagher Brothers, and
Yep.
Radiohead, and Coldplay, and UK, a lot of UK rock and roll, and '90s rock, and then classic rock and pop and top 40 and all that stuff. But I like a kind of like symphonic rock and roll with acoustic guitars and strings and layers. That's kind of my thing that I enjoy the most. So the song is a little bit about the story of I met somebody after I got out of the organization. I was pretty messed up. I was really messed up, and I was able to start going to therapy. But I actually met somebody, kind of a chance encounter with somebody who a little older than me. This girl who helped me find some focus, and that what I probably needed to do is just go get an education, which I was not planning on doing because I thought I was going to get married in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was 19 and I was, I wasn't quite an auxiliary pioneer, but I was put in 30, 40 hours a month in the
Yep.
field service. And there was this girl who I off and on through my high school years, and was just rapturously in love with this girl. And I think she felt the same way. I thought we were going to get married. And then this is all coinciding with when I was discovering things and it was the kind of eye-opening things I learned about the society. So my life imploded, everything that I thought was going to happen. And I found myself so purposeless and depressed. I know Tim was talking about that. I think we could probably all relate to something like that, but just so rudderless. And this great conversation with this girl just told me that, traveling and meeting people and kind of broadening my horizons, and then going to college and actually just getting a new structure that would be positive for my life, even while I was I wonder if Tim actually can relate to this. There have been times when I felt like I'm so weird and awkward and messed up that if I can't like make things perfect, then I don't want to do anything. Like why bother until things are perfect? She helped me kind of unpack that and see that that's not how it is. It's never going to be perfect, but you're allowed to go do something that's positive, that's constructive, that'll move your life forward, even while you're not perfect, even while you're working on, other parts of yourself or your mind or your mental health, which are not there yet. It's like I felt like I was in an abyss until I had this conversation with her. So I ended up going to a community college that fall, and things really changed positively for me. And thank you, Rocky, there in the comments. appreciate that.
So some of the other things that you have, we've got an echo.
Yeah, but it's probably okay.
Okay. Some of the other things that you've had happen, have you been able to get help and support, or apart from the girl that helped you unpack bits and pieces, what other things have you done to help yourself?
I've had really good connections with people I met when I was going to school, and then afterwards with family, especially in Arizona and the West Coast. And I'm a big believer in therapy. I've done a lot of rather expensive therapy, but I recommend it. It's good. It's good to talk. It's good to just kind of think helps you gain more perspectives on yourself. That's a tough thing about, at least for me, leaving, is that you've been like conditioned your whole life for one view of the world. So even just getting other perspectives on it. I met some cool people, and we just talked about, I went to a lot of meetup groups talking about religion and philosophy and debates and atheism and Buddhism, just cool stuff that I was learning about also, and I think was helpful as like almost like a process of osmosis, just seeing different points of view were out there, and not just the Jehovah's Witness, but also not just the Christian monotheistic view, I would say, is a fairly specific view of the world also.
Yeah. So when you look back on it, is there any regrets you had in what you did?
No regrets in leaving the organization. I was ready to move on. Some regret that with the music stuff, it almost took the pandemic. It was actually just before the pandemic, but it almost took the time that I had in the pandemic, and just the total reset to commit to making my own album, because I had been just a working musician, and I had been playing in bands off and on, and kind of stuck on this one idea that I was going to make it in a band with songs that I had written a long time ago, and it just never quite working out. And I don't know. I think I was scared to. I think I was scared to tell the story. I think I was scared to just kind of take the reins, which has felt really good. Felt like I don't know if it's OCD, but I feel like I needed to, go in there, make an album, go just like get into it. Whereas bands, when there's 5 people in a band, there's 5 decision makers and people's schedules, and people have work and lives and kids, and it all gets super complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you look at that, what really helped you go from being scared to where you are now? Is there one particular thing? I
hope everyone gets a kick out of this. It's probably just aging.
Oh, really?
I'm in my mid-30s. Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I was like, you know what? Okay, I've done the band thing. Like, I've been scared long enough. It's like, it's been enough. That's all. Enough time has been spent being scared and procrastinating and not doing this in a way that felt authentic, and writing new songs, finally, new material. I don't know. I woke up, I was like, hey, I'm 36. That's enough. That's enough here for now. I'm start doing something cool.
Do you feel like you had to tell those sort of foundational stories of you kind of leaving the religion through music before you can do the next album or the next set of music?
I think so, because I actually really appreciate that question. I consider myself, a writer interested in a lot of things, and I've written a lot of material, and the bands I love, from the Beatles to U2 to the 1975, are broad, and I do not want to be. I definitely don't want to feel like I can only write about religion or topics stemming from my involvement with religion for the rest of my life. Far from it. I feel like I have a lot of other things I'm interested in talking about, including the world and social media and life and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I definitely do feel like there's something I wanted to express and delve into with this, and then feel like I said my piece, and if I return to it, then I do. But I'm also free to move on lyrically as an artist and talk about other things. I wonder if Tim probably can relate to some of that too, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tim?
No, I agree with everything Wes is saying. I think it's a therapeutic and almost cathartic process, as both of us, I think, can relate as musicians, to write about our experiences, growing up and leaving, and trying to, like your whole show is about life after Jehovah Witnesses, which I think is such a great platform to help people see that there is so much more to life than just what they know. And it's interesting, because I'm excited to see what Wes is going to do with his music, just as much as I'm excited to, focus on other things too, outside of talking about my past with Jehovah's Witnesses. But just like he brought out, I have so many other things that are so much more interesting, I feel, to talk about. And I think it'll just be great for us to grow, not just as people, but even as artists, to see what else we can speak about on a creative level.
And I think I'm sorry, Scott. I was going to say one of the other things that the delay. Apologies. I do think that leaving a group like JW's, we're not the only Priests have had this experience, because there's a lot of other, fair amount of other crazy religions and stuff, but getting that perspective, I do feel has some value. I mean, I see a fair amount of tendency. Something I'm very interested in is social media, even though I enjoy some of it, I think there's some downside also. And I think that there is, in fact, a wide body of evidence, and even just anecdotally, that a lot of how we use social media is making us dumber. As I'm not sure how it is in New Zealand, but it's making us very prone to quick judgments and quick fragmentation, and also like being very, very like, hate people online and cast people and like just think everybody else is an idiot if they don't agree with you. I would borderline say that that's like groupthink-ish. So I think that the experience of leaving JWs has other value that I've noticed, as far as being able to just like even artistically kind of see what's going on with humanity and society, and hopefully be able to say something that's positive about that.
Yeah.
Right. It feels like there's like cult tendencies in many kinds of society, whether that's in a business, a small business, or a big corporate company vibe, or the club you hang out in, the sport team you're on. Like, it could be everywhere. I feel like I totally agree. Like I see patterns that the average person might not see because I went through this extreme experience.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, just going on to the Social Network. Don't know if you've watched the movie The Social Dilemma. I was blown away with some of the things, and I'm thinking, is that what they're doing to us?
Yeah. Great movie. Yeah,
it's well worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
So, Wes, what sort of you're doing your music now? What's a big goal that you've got for the future?
I'd like to get signed to a record label. I really believe I'd like to be signed to a record label in the years to come. Later this year, I'm planning on probably a second EP, so at least start recording it. This year I'm planning on an open mic tour of the US, and if I can swing at the UK. But yeah, I'd like to say time to a label. I believe in my craft. I went to school for music. I won a couple of very, very, very minor Billboard awards for songwriting years ago. Actually, when I was still a witness, I was just about 19.
Okay. Yep.
I won two minor awards for songwriting way back in the day. But yeah, I believe in what I'm doing. So I'd like to get signed to a label. I'd like the reach of a label helps you just reach a bigger audience, and that's definitely my goal.
Yeah.
I've got an open mic in Vietnam for you, in Hanoi. It's like they pack the house every Wednesday. It's a great.
Well, there you go.
I'll be there.
Yeah. You might not get wide distribution out of that, though.
Well, Wes, you're also inspirational in what you've been able to accomplish as well. One of the comments that came in just before was this one here. You guys are so much in touch with yourselves, living your lives and dreams in your music. And both of you.
Appreciate that.
You're both like that. And Scott is too, obviously not with music, but with doing the video. It's a way that we can live our lives, that we can enjoy our lives.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I really appreciate that point, because I think, again, with the mindset that, being raised as a Jehovah's Witness is to always imagine your life will get better, but just not now. You have to wait. Paradise will come, and all of the things you want to do now, you'll just wait and do it till then. But, Scott, Wes, me, you, we all have pursued our different passions and different avenues of being creative and getting to do the things that we are enjoying about life. And I think that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to wait for a physical world to come forward. And quite frankly, that's something I am going to discuss in a future song yet to be released, but not right now. But that is something I am very interested in the topic as well.
Great. Cool. So can we just go around the group? Maybe we can start with Scott. What's something positive that you could share with everybody, Scott, about the future?
Oh.
Come on, Scott. You got it.
Actually, I want to pause that for a second, because I wanted to say something earlier that I think is really interesting. That the three of us have that are guests on the show have all made some media that could be consumed. Listen to your songs, listen to your album, watch my film that's coming out. But they're all on the same topic, which is our leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses experience. And I was out doing film stuff, helping tell other people's stories. But at some point I came full circle and I was like, I really still want to tell my personal story somehow. And so I'm not in my film, but I found people who had a very similar experience. And so now I'm doing that, like, so much longer, over 10 years later. And then Wes, you kind of did a similar thing, like 15 years later, you got all these skills, just like maybe I did with filmmaking. You got all your skills in music and you did the hard rock or the touring thing. And now you're telling your personal story. And then Tim, you're like kind of straight off the heels of leaving, but you're like going straight into it. But we're all like kind of in the same point in life where we're ready to tell our story somehow through some kind of art.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I never really thought about that.
Yeah, we're very grateful. We're grateful for you doing, all three of you, to do that in different ways.
Yeah. But I think I can also speak to what you guys were just saying about, like, I'm excited to not make a film about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm excited to tell another story that is something that's it's less personal and something I'm passionate about. That's not about my past, but about, where I want the world to go, or how I want to change something for the better, for example.
Have you got any ideas on that?
There's something, it's a little bit vague, but there's a good friend of mine I met in college. And we made a pilot like 6 years ago. It was called Environmentalism. Like, he's into metal music and heavy music, and me too. And it's fun. And he wanted to teach people like healthy things you can do in life through heavy music. So we'd make these like 2-minute short videos where, like, we did the first one on compost, like how to make compost. And like, I'm going to show you how to make compost. And that's the only dialogue. You just see him make compost, and then like, now you go do it. And that was like super fun to make. It was a very DIY punk aesthetic. I lived in a commune at the time. And so there's like a lot of interesting stuff around, a lot of different people. But anyway, I kind of would love to like pick that back up. And he's now done architecture and engineering work out in Washington, D.C. He's a great friend. It'd be cool to like just make some more content and like maybe like pitch that as like a legit show where we like go around the world and maybe like either we teach people a bunch of stuff, or we go out and to find people who have found solutions to real world problems, and just sort of make it like a fun, engaging thing. Also with me, everything I do is always with music. So bring in this whole, like, my film's about musicians, and I interviewed Wes the other day. Like, bring in music. Music helps emotionally convey meaning to people, and I feel like it's an important part of every thing that I create.
Awesome.
Anyway,
love it.
I'm excited about that.
Well, we look forward to seeing that happen too.
Yeah.
You'll have to let us know when you're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe a long shot, but I'm a little bit like, I'm still wrapped up in the whole film. So like, we're running the film festival. I'm a year out before I can really pick up emotionally or time-wise another project. But I guess a few side things. Also, the XJW series is like a fun thing to do. Keep telling these stories. But yeah, at some point, move on to a new topic. That's what I'm looking forward to in my future.
Cool. Okay, so a bit of encouragement from each one of you guys. What would it be if you were to encourage somebody and they'd just come out from the J-Dubs?
Don't feel pressure to go right away into some. I think I probably mentioned it earlier that sometimes from different articles of the Watchtower, from talks that we've heard. There are a lot of stereotypes about what is it like to really live outside of the organization. But I truly feel like at that point, once you are out and you're free, you have the right to make a decision of how you choose to live your life. So don't feel peer pressured or have these expectations of, I need to try everything all at once and I want to do this, I want to do that. But really just take a moment to just accept your new position and your new status of life, where you no longer have this that you've known, but now you're taking time to really get to know who you are as a person. And with that comes a lot of experimentation and meeting new people and seeing different things. And it'll take some time for you to figure out, what those things are that you're passionate about. But I always encourage people just to be safe. Don't, do anything risky or anything that's going to harm you. Just, be happy, because right now this is a new chapter of your life that you're entering. But I promise you, it's the best one that you'll ever read. The best is yet to come, and it's whatever you choose to make it.
We've got a question. Tim, what's your happiest moment outside J-Dubs?
my happiest moment outside of Jehovah Witness, I would have to say, truly, I mean, it was me reconnecting with my love of music. And that's actually something I talk about in my next single, which is going to be coming out soon, where I really do write a song about my relationship almost with music saving my life. Since I was a young person, I've always had a really strong connection with music, and I wanted to do more with it. I took choir classes, drama classes, and anything I could to be in the arts and be creative. But, you know, growing up, you know, in the Jehovah Witness organization, you're not allowed to pursue those things, you know, just beyond that. So I was finally able to, you know, be in a position of my own where I said, you know what, what's stopping me?
Yeah.
What is preventing me from now finally getting to do what I truly was passionate about, and
Yep.
that was music. So the happiest moment I've been has literally been here in my home studio, singing and recording music in my closet. You know, just creating my art and just doing what I love. And it may sound very simple to some people, but for me, that's always what I've wanted to do. And nothing has made me happier than, you know, being able to make music. But now, music that I feel that will actually help people, and it's something that will encourage people and inspire them, like I said, to keep fighting to just be yourself, be free, be your best individual version of you that you can possibly be. And I think that when we all do that, the world in general and people around you will just feel that, and life will just be so much better. So yeah, really making music is what makes me happy.
Yeah. Just going back to you, Scott, for a minute. What's your happiest moment outside J-Dubs?
I want to kind of parody off of Tim here. We can get to that. Time and guilt are two things I want to get to. One, we were talking earlier today in the park.
Yeah.
Guilt is used as a tool of coercion.
Yep.
And a tool to control you. And guilt, there is a kind of guilt that's natural and healthy, which is the one where you make a mistake and you recognize it and you change for the better. And that's useful. But if you're feeling guilt for the most of the time, it's because someone else wants you to feel guilt so that they can control you. And like just recognizing that and living your life guilt-free. Like when you're a witness, you spend 10, 15, 20 hours of your week, of your extra time after your job or your school or whatever, devoted to this book publishing company because you think it's going to get you this future. You think you have to because of your social pressure, the social pressure. Wow. But now you can devote it to something creative, like Tim is suggesting, or like all of us have devoted a lot of time to some kind of creative art or craft. And if you just do that guilt-free, you can like live in that practice, like be happy. You don't have to get the result right away. Like Wes played music for a lot of years. I developed my camera skills for a lot of years before I felt like I was good at it. But just go try. And I feel like that's probably where I derive the most of my joy. Like I'm skipping out on like a fun party right now, and I'm happy about it because this is part of, we get to talk about the things we love, love to do.
Yeah. All right, Wes, what's your happiest moment before we get on to the bit of encouragement that you would like to impart?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. It's tough to pick just one.
Well, tell us two or three.
Two or three. My best friend had a baby who was born premature, and it was a somewhat dangerous situation, but she survived, and she's great, and he's great, and I'm like the uncle, basically. I'm the crazy uncle to this kid who's like my heart and soul, my joy. This kid, and his mom is my best friend.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts as a moment, but that's cool. And obviously playing music. There's been a lot of fun moments with Piano Bar, touring, and a lot of shows in places like. Actually, I can name one in particular. It was in Ireland.
Ireland. Wow.
In Ireland, in Dublin. Yeah. Do New Zealanders and the Irish like each other, or?
Yeah, no, they do. Maybe not in rugby, because there's a rivalry there, but no, we generally get on pretty good.
Okay.
We've got what's that celebration coming up? The Irish St. Pat's Day. We've got that coming up.
Oh, great.
and so here in New Zealand, the bars are getting ready to, because they're allowed to go to the bars, to have a big on party time.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice. Congratulations.
I love it. Do you have a Premier League team, Shane, or is that not that wouldn't be your league, I guess?
No, we have a team called the All Blacks.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And Ireland and the All Blacks, go after each other, and same with Wales, and
All right.
everybody seems to want to take down the All Blacks, which is fine. I mean, indicates something. But anyway, that's another subject. So, talking about something that you could encourage those ones who are sitting there thinking, what would their bit of encouragement be?
Find what works for you when you. I'd say probably two things. Find what works for you when you get out.
Yeah.
For me, I definitely did in fact need. I had like a lost summer of about 4.5 to 5 months,
Right.
long summer. And then I started going to community college. I definitely needed some structure back in my life.
Yep.
I needed. It's not for me. It wasn't. It was bordering on extremely unhealthy to be in a position where I could like ruminate on things and just kind of be in this space of where nothing made any sense. So having some structure back worked for me. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but find kind of what works for you as far as the nuts and bolts of your life, whether that's work or school or whatever that keeps you grounded while you are trying to figure yourself out and figure out just like navigating who you are again and what you believe and how to kind of process that you got out of the organization and you spent time in the organization and maybe it wasn't what you thought it was, and that's why we're all here. And the other thing is that you're not alone. And Tam already said this, but to be redundant, especially with social media, the forums, the Reddit forum, the XJW Reddit forum is pretty amazing. Instagram and Twitter. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of people who have left groups like Mormons and Scientologists who are in a similar boat. So there's a lot of people that have gone through this kind of life transition, and so you're not alone. And it was similar, a little less so when I got out, but now you're really not alone because there's so much with social media that's readily available. It's on your phone. So hang in there because other people have been through the same thing, and you can connect with them, and it's helpful.
It is. Well, I certainly want to say thank you, guys. I know this was a bit of a bonus live stream, and we've really appreciated your time tonight. Thank you very much for being here. And we look forward to seeing all three of you progress nicely in your chosen passion. See the music. If you ever come out to New Zealand, look us up. We'll be here.
Yeah.
We'll show you a bit around. What's that?
I was like, I definitely will.
Cool.
Well, touring musical concert.
Maybe you guys can team up, and one films the tour, and the other two play, and we can get together with the XJ Dubs here in New Zealand.
Sounds good. Like
that would be something.
That would be fun.
I have to ask: do you live anywhere near where the Lord of the Rings was shot, or the Hobbit scenes, the Shire was shot?
That it is in a place called Matamata. It is about 5 and a bit hours away from me.
Okay.
The closest I came to the Lord of the Rings was I was going down the number 1 road in New Zealand up to Auckland, and there were security guards, there were vans everywhere, and they were not allowing anybody on a thing called the Desert Road, which is by the mountains, Ruapehu, all the other ones there, and they were filming through that area. There was a number of different sites throughout New Zealand they filmed for the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
But that's the closest I ever got to it. I haven't been to Hobbiton, and I don't know exactly where the other ones are that they filmed here in New Zealand. But Peter Jackson used to have.
That's all.
No, that's fine. To be honest, I have not watched them. Give me Star Wars any day.
Okay.
I love Star Wars as well.
Tell us on New Zealand.
We can still be friends.
So thank you once again, guys. This has been fun.
Appreciate
Most
it.
unexpected.
I had a lot of fun too.
Good. Yeah, some of the things, not some, lots of the things that you have shared with us show we're human, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So for those on the live stream watching now or later, thank you for being here. We hope to see you again. And just keep in mind, there is a chance to dare to dream. So at this moment, thanks for your time. Keep safe, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.